can you like go back to that time at 19 and what it was
Mhm.
like for you when you had that first taste and what that was like for you and sort of what that became so when you shifted into kind of making it more your full-time thing?
Right. So I don't know what it was. I mean, I've always been a writer. I've been writing poetry since I was 12, and I just wanted to put it into music. And I first was a singer before I started rapping, and I kind of, over the years, became more aggressive with my style that I've kind of lost my singing voice, and I kind of now just have this aggressive, raspy rapping voice. So I put it into raps. And when I first went into the booth when I was 19, I had some people that I was hanging out with at the time. They brought me to my first studio session ever. And, the first track I did was obviously not good. It was pretty trash. And it went viral, like in Long Island, as me being one of the first young female, especially Greek white female rappers in Long Island. So it's like everyone wanted to know, like, who this person was on this song. Even though it sucked, they still wanted to know, like, who I was. And then, I got a lot of I got feedback, but most of it was hate, obviously, because, I've dealt with a lot of prejudice and a lot of racism too, me being Greek and from Greek people and from people in the hip hop industry. And they basically told me that I'm in the wrong genre of music. What am I doing? No one's going to take me seriously. Who would even come up with like rock rap? If, at first it was called punk rap though, that I did, and rock rap. And then I was like, I actually like trap and I like more metal hardcore than just rock. So let me do like, and then I was like I don't care what anyone says, I was one of the first female drill rappers in Long Island because I started rapping in 2018. And then drill music obviously then was not what drill music is today. Like I was going over Bobby Shmurda beats, Rowdy Rebel beats, what was considered Brooklyn drill at the time in 2018. And then I expanded my genre into obviously every type of drill music. I do every type of drill beat, like whether it's Chicago, like even Greek drill I do. And I don't care what anyone says, I'm the only Greek female drill rapper that's doing this. Anybody else that you see after me has copied me. So yeah.
Let's go back to something you just said about most of the feedback was haters, you know. You said it like,
Hmm.
you know, kind of casually. And before we filmed, you mentioned about, one of the things you're kind of proud of and helps you is the fact that you've gotten through to continue something when you're first out of the gate, most of the feedback was quite harsh and quite negative. So you say it very calmly.
Hmm.
Can't I can only wonder about what it must have felt like though to have people um you know critique you for who you are as a
Yeah.
who you are as an artist, your, being female, being Greek,
Hmm.
all the layers of that. Like, did any of it kind of get to you, or what helped you kind of deflect that and keep going?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like when I was younger, it used to get to me because I've always, since I was in high school, I've always been the one that was like considered the outcast, but like in a like weird in a popular way because like all the girls hated me in high school because I was just always like upfront and blunt. And I never like I grew up in a neighborhood that you're supposed to suppress your feelings. God forbid if you get into an argument, people are going to look at you weird. You're not supposed to express yourself. You're supposed to follow every trend that you see in high school right now. So it's like I was always the odd one out. I was the one always dressing in black, with like the chains, the baggy clothes and stuff like that. And I tried to conform to like the type of style that I saw in my high school, but it's like I never liked it. And my style back then was considered ratchet. And it's so funny how everyone's trying to be that now. Dress black, piercings, tattoos, just be like real rock stars. And I've always been like a rock star, but that's why I guess like females didn't like it because I was very expressive with my style and they didn't like someone that stood out and took the shine away from them, I guess, if you want to call it that. I have no idea what it was. I guess it was also my loud personality too that was just overbearing and too much to handle. That even
Oh,
like it
for them.
was
Yeah, no, that's a common thing. I've been in that boat myself, and it was quite a few years ago compared to you, and it's not even that different, right? When you, don't go along with
yeah.
every trend and every style, you're a little, you're alive, you're bigger than life, you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of opinions, you have a lot of strength and depth to you. for some people who are still unsure of themselves, they like react really strongly to that. And it's very common in, middle school and high school times to have, I mean, all the cheesy movies aside, right? Like that is because why
Mhm.
is Mean Girls show many movies and shows? Because it is such a common thing across. It's not just a thing in the US, it's across the world, but in the US it can be quite rough. It's my understanding. So the fact that you sort of were able to dodge and deflect all of that and kind of stay yourself even before you got into the booth is probably kind of gave you that armor and that resilience to do that. But would you say within your like family or your friends, like do you feel like they're really have been supportive of you pursuing this, or has there been a struggle there?
At first, there was a really big struggle, not with friends, but with family, like, because I went to college and I got my bachelor's degree in marketing, and I didn't even know that I wanted to do music seriously at that time, even though I was like messing around in the booth doing raps because I'm a hothead and I used it as a way to be therapeutic for me. Um, they didn't support it at first, my family. Like, they didn't like it. They were like, "Oh, you went to college for this. What are you doing?" Like, being a Greek girl in the rap industry, people are gonna tear you apart. People are gonna use you and abuse you because you're a pretty girl. They're gonna try to take advantage of you, get you drunk and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. I understand your concern, but it's like this is what I want to do. And even if it doesn't, if even if I don't become the most famous, I still want to do this more than a hobby. Like, I consider this my real job, and then any other job I do after that is just to support my music. So it's like, and so that was a struggle with my family. And, but now they're starting to see like results because I was consistent. This is the only thing I've been the most consistent with, because every other thing that like I've either like quit or been nonchalant about. But this, even my dad said, he's like, you don't stop. He's like, you keep going, even though if there's like girls that are hating on you and stuff like that. He's like, you just like don't let them get to you. And like I've had like hating, insecure mm, say about me, oh well, you're only doing this for clout. Everyone's hyping you up. You're not really talented. You suck. Blah blah blah. I can't stand your music. I was like, oh, but you know about me though. You know Lula Sav though. And it's like, you're dissing me in your rap. So it's like, how relevant am I again? Oh, but you're giving me attention. Okay.
It's kind of interesting how we're starting. I mean, last night on Ryan's show, we were talking about our species and how evolved we are. And he was like, we used
Mhm.
to like cut each other's heads off and, like in the Middle Ages and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, we are, but we're also not, in terms of like, there's enough for everyone. There's enough room for everyone. So why do they have to bother? I don't know. But like you said, like they have to take time out to make a public dissing of you is like giving actually a gift,
Mhm.
right? That said, it's not nothing to have to deflect that kind of stuff